those who don't know me, I'm Hannah Solkov. I'm the community manager here on the Close. We've also got a familiar face, Chris Linsell, here with us, real estate staff writer and coach. So we wanted to welcome you guys to the first ever Real Estate Agents Mastermind Facebook group community call. So we've been working on growing our Facebook group for quite some time now. We've gotten over 2,000 members from all over the world, some beginners, some experts, all different levels, coming together to share their tips. So we wanted to use these types of calls to welcome new members and also allow you guys to highlight your expertise and continue to share tips and strategies with one another. So to kick off our first call, we wanted to welcome a very special guest all the way from Vancouver, Jenny. So Jenny's going to be sharing some of her social media tips today. I've personally gotten a chance to look at Jenny's social media presence, and I've been super impressed with her consistent brand across YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, like you name it, and she's on there posting consistently. So it's super exciting, and all of your marketing efforts seem to really show off, and we're super impressed with it. So Jenny, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Well, firstly, I just want to thank you for writing such useful content on your website, because I read every article every day that comes into my inbox, and really the tips are so useful. They're very practical, and I hope to be able to give back to and provide practical advice as well to some of the listeners today. So I'm Jen Woon. I've been in the business just shy of 18 years, which means I started 1 years old. I specialize in the resident market on the West Coast, in the Greater Vancouver market. So that encompasses Vancouver, Burnaby, Port Moody. To the south, where the airport is Richmond. So I run a couple of project marketing companies, managing their marketing and sales avenues, and then I also run a resale team as a team lead with 5 team members, which is the best members that I can ask for. So altogether, year after year, we sell well over 100 million in real estate, and it's been a good run so far, and we've hit this pandemic as a whole city, but so far we've really been resilient and kind of worked our way through this.
That's awesome. Great. So we have a few questions so you can highlight yourself and some of the social media tips that you can provide for our listeners. So first, we were wondering how you started to begin to build such a consistent brand across all your platforms.
I actually have to give a lot of credit to the builders I worked with in the start of my career. Like working in project sales, I was invited to brainstorm and work with a lot of marketing companies, and I learned there was 3 fundamental components to gaining attention to get leads. So there's the why, when, and who. So why is creating the message that described the services that I provide, what I can help them with their struggles, how I can solve their problem. So I'm crafting a story that will understand their struggle and how I can provide value to them. Secondly is showing up consistently. As you mentioned, you've seen our social media throughout different platforms, through Instagram, through Facebook, through YouTube, and our branding and our style and our feel is very, very familiar on all the avenues that we're using. So just being well connected, and every time you're showing up and dominating their feed, it just shows that you're a very active and well connected realtor in the community. And then who is just thirdly creating a community that engages with your followers, supporting them through interesting conversations, showing a side of you that's superhuman and just not transactional. And so you're just cultivating that connection and just ensuring that the client stays loyal to you just because you have an authentic connection. And I think at the end of the day, you really just have to ask for the sale. have a call to action. I myself, we're not looking for 10,000 followers. We're looking for real people who we can relate to, who will sign up for our services, who can understand the value that we can provide to create a connection with what they need.
Jenny, you said something really interesting there that I think I just want to follow up with. You said specifically that you weren't looking for 10,000 followers. You were looking for people who are actually going to engage with you and your message and the things that your team is doing. So it sounds like you're saying quality in terms of your following and engagement is more important than quantity. I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I'm always looking at the number of followers a realtor or any entrepreneur has, and then I look at their number of likes. So if they have like 20,000 followers, but then 100 likes, versus we're getting, we have I think 1,600. I'm not sure how many we have, but we have less than 10,000 for sure. But we're also getting the same amount of likes and comments. I just feel like that's just more real, and that's just we've really specifically targeted to our market. And we can't service 10,000 buyers and sellers at the end of the day, really. So it's just creating authentic relationships offline and online.
That's really insightful. And would you say that there's a particular platform where it's easier to create those authentic relationships, or are they all kind of in the mix with each other?
You really have to know your audience. So, obviously Facebook was created first, and so you're going to get a little bit of an older demographic there. And then, there's the new introductions of TikTok, which we're not on, but really they're not probably our users anyways, because they're a younger crowd, like teenagers. So we've really been able to utilize Instagram to our advantage, and just by being consistent, because who knows, maybe they're showing it to their grandparents, to their parents, who also has an influence on the decision on which realtor to use. Then we can actually cater to really a larger group within that main buyer, that main decision maker. So I would say just be consistent on your branding in all platforms, regardless. But I would probably say we get the most comments through Instagram.
Cool. Very good.
We've also been pretty active on Instagram. I think you've even seen we've done a social media challenge, so we've been seeing agents take up Instagram throughout this month. So that's pretty exciting.
What's really funny for our Vancouver market on the West Coast, we have Twitter, but I don't see a lot of agents advertising on Twitter or LinkedIn. So those are probably more catered towards news or sports, but I don't really see agents engaging with their clients that way.
Chris is pretty active on LinkedIn. Do you find that you've been getting a lot of engagement through that, Chris?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, LinkedIn is probably one of the more interesting organic platforms for me right now, because the way that the news feed and the algorithm is set up, it's pretty easy to get in front of people, in front of your organic audience, without a lot of kind of manipulation of your content. And likewise, there is really no limit to the building of your organic reach, because you really can just reach out and request a connection with anybody who has a personal profile, if they're searchable. And there are options to make your profiles unsearchable, but the vast majority of people in the real estate industry, they want their profile to be searchable. So it's pretty easy to reach folks there. It's a platform I think we're going to see a lot more interest in over the next year or two. Jenny, what's your LinkedIn presence look like right now? Is that a platform that you guys are using?
I do have a profile on there. I haven't actually changed my bio for the last 5 years, to be quite honest. But I find that the most posts that I receive are other realtors or peers in the industry. Other than that, we tend to, I feel like it's more for work, more more for work, more for about the tools like that we're utilizing in terms of with real estate developments and or like even market share, like what's going on with statistics and government policies. But other
Mm-hmm.
engaging with clients, we just haven't really used that platform.
Gotcha. Well, it'll be interesting to see how that evolves.
Mm.
Um, cool. So moving on, we were wondering if you had any recommendations or suggestions for tools that realtors can use to kind of create and schedule their social media posts. Not everybody is super active right now, and if they're looking to start, if there's any tools that you don't have to be a graphic designer, you don't have to be a social media expert to use. If you had any tools that you and your team use that you could suggest.
Well, luckily, actually, just to tell you backstory, I was against like going on social media. I was like, I want my life to be private. So I actually didn't adopt social media until in the later stages. And eventually I hired someone for $200 a month to post 4 times a month. And then it just became so important to just get the word out, like that you're very active in the market. And we ended up hiring, we have someone that's full time on the team who manages all our social media handles and all our feature sheets and all our marketing collateral. She particularly uses Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator for all the videos that we shoot, which is with a normal camera. She uses iMovie to edit and Capwing for video subtitles. But I've been starting to use like Canva for free templates, so that seems to be pretty user friendly. We pretty much post on a daily basis, and if it's not a static post, it'll be a story. We combine our sold and just listed and just make sure it's not back to back. But we have a variety of like team photos, real client engagement, interior design inspiration, some of our celebrations of awards, video testimonials from clients. So just and even just like a glimpse of our personal life from time to time of our hobbies. So the key thing is really just to add a component of like a human component to it, and also just adding our logo wherever we can, so it's also they know that it's us. One thing that I do want to give a tip on is just be mindful of the size of the image that you're posting, because posting on Facebook could be a different size than posting on Twitter or on the stories of Instagram. So think about changing the image of the thumbnail to another frame of the video so it's more eye-catching. And with Facebook and Instagram's algorithms, if you're trying to post like a video and promote your video on YouTube, obviously Facebook doesn't want you to leave their app. So I would highly recommend using the tools that are on Facebook, and that way you're going to get the most exposure, and they're going to repeatedly try to expose you to as much followers as possible. And then just another tip is just making sure that you keep the share function on, so that when you are you're allowing your audience to share your content, which reaches out to a bigger audience for you without any cost.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I think one of the interesting things that I heard you mention through that I want to know a little bit more about is your use of stories versus static post. That's, I think, for a lot of folks who are not necessarily native to social media and social media marketing, this is kind of a confusing point. Can you explain to us a little bit more the difference between a static post and a story post, and why one is better in certain instances than another?
Sure. A post it stays on your feed, and there's you can do it by post like a video or post a picture and add comments to it. Versus a story is on there for only 24 hours. And what I find is like if it's curated properly with a lot of style, with a lot, and it fits kind of the branding, then it's better suited as a post versus a story or a video, which last, it's in segments of 15 seconds. In that sense, if you're just wanting something that's a little bit more raw, a little bit more organic and timely, then that's when you may want to do a video. What's great is the IGTV that they created, and even just last week or this week they announced the chat rooms, where you can have up to 5 users in one chat. I think that's great because you can get more interaction with people, and with the IGTV, I believe is it 30 minutes? I believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so that you can start like a series or like an album almost of videos that you want to do or compile together. So they've created a lot of different functions, and it's still taking me some time to learn each one of them, especially all the filters. But it's to your advantage because it's just so cost effective. I remember having to spend $350 for a quarter page ad, and now it's like you can reach an audience infinite number of times depending on what kind of audience you want to reach, and if you want to sponsor the ad as well.
Yeah, that's really great advice, and I think a super important point, the fact that we have a virtually unlimited reach with a really reasonable budget compared to where it used to be just 5, 10, I mean, especially longer than that. But I mean, just 10 years ago, the cost of marketing to an audience like that in an analog setting would have been astronomical. Most 99.9% of us couldn't afford that. But now those opportunities are available to any real estate agent who is willing to put in the time to learn about how to do it, or has the budget to be able to hire someone to do it for them. So pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, and what's perfect is you can sit on the coffee table for 1 week or 2 days, and it goes into the recycling box. In this case, if you're doing a video, you can clip it in so many different ways and repurpose it over the week or a month or however, it's just fresh content all the time, however you want to achieve and put it together.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, going off that, if you've seen better results with engagement on videos or pictures, and if you have you sponsored those, and if there's a difference in engagement after sponsoring them? So pictures versus video, what you found has worked better?
I would say our sponsoring would be so a lot of our videos are about us, so about the team, and we often are trying to, if it's like a 1-minute video, we're going to clip it into like 15 seconds. And then if it's like super important or fun moments, we will sponsor them. And it does attract a lot of engagement. We don't particularly sponsor like listings or anything like that. I find that, the whole story is not fully told with the limited number of characters that were allowed, or the virtual tour could be longer than the 15 seconds or 30 minutes. So I feel like generally we rely on like MLS or REW for realestateweekly.com for that. I would say if you were to sponsor the video versus a post, I would say a video would be more useful.
Interesting. Definitely get to see more of the character and the personality behind the video.
Mm-hmm. And it's moving parts all the time too.
Definitely. So of course we're all sitting through COVID still. Different areas are picking up more than others. I'm currently in New York City, where it's still pretty slow. Things aren't opening yet. But we're wondering how you have kind of pivoted your social media strategy, and if you have, around everything that's happening with COVID.
We certainly have. Our clients are counting on us for guidance, so we have to remember we're always in a relationship business, not a sales business. So if I can say what we gained out of this COVID-19 from not being able to hold open houses is the quality of photos, the quality of videos have significantly improved tenfold. we're not seeing photos with using an iPhone. Everybody's hiring professional photographers and floor plan measuring companies. And we're, selling pre-sale. From my background, we've always incorporated virtual tours in our marketing material.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really glad that it's almost now a standard practice to really showcase every listing now, and it just brings up the quality of our values up in the business. So for so long, especially in the market, especially in Vancouver, we didn't have to spend a dime. We slapped the listing up on MLS, and our homes didn't last on the market longer than 7 days on the market. So we've been very fortunate, and we've been kind of order takers in our business, I hate to say. So by being able to just up our game with a lot of these tools, I'm just really happy that we're able to just provide more accurate information to the end user. So just we have to be way more engaging, and really with our business is share the intention, learn to serve rather than selling our client something, and our content is just less informational, and just asking our followers to ask us questions, initiate conversation. Whenever there's questions, tagging them, so that, because people love to show up on other people's feed, so they end up sharing their posts, and with that trickle effect, we end up getting like warm followers because they know someone who knows us. So besides the mandatory procedures that are called upon us by the real estate board, we've had to cancel our annual client appreciation party that we hold yearly. Our most recent online event that we held was our bus bench contest. So we had our buyers, or our audience, have a scavenger hunt around the city. So our bus benches are scattered all over the city of Burnaby. And for every bus bench they found in our city, they would tag us and post it in their story, which gained an entry to them. So they could win a gift card based on a random draw. So in 1 week, we ended up gaining like 30 entries, 4,300 impressions, gained 25 legitimate followers that live in the city, and as a result of the contest. And so from that contest, when she picked up her gift card, she provided us with a referral from that contest. So, again, real people, real content. We're not looking for people that don't even live in the city, because we can't really service them right now.
I think that's such an interesting story, in part because it really demonstrates the value of providing personalized service to prospects in a way through using social media and kind of social marketing strategies. You're providing this personal connection with somebody in a way that a lot of real estate. I think a lot of real estate agents think about social media marketing as marketing with like a scatter gun. They like put something up there and hope that it hits enough people that you get some sort of retention with it. And I understand the thought process behind that, but the story you just told was really a good example of how it can be used like a sniper rifle too. That you're making sure that your content and your intent is really targeted and specific, and making a genuine connection with somebody. And that's just such a cool way of doing business. And I'm sure that person's going to be a client for life for you too.
Well, okay, I was trained the old school way, following the schedule, and I'm sure everybody who's listening and will be listening has heard of the Gary Keller Williams system, the 33-point touch point system. I think now they call it the 36 touch point system. But imagine yourself trying to touch base with a client without sounding too pushy 33 times a year. So being able to incorporate Facebook, Instagram to increase my engagement with the clients by liking, by commenting, by responding, that's already going to increase your 36 to like 50 touch points automatically. So I just felt like, this is a necessary tool for us to use, because again, it saves you a lot of time. You could just do it with your phone. One thing I do want to mention though is you just can't let social media consume your time though, because you have to have a balance. And when you keep scrolling on your phone, an hour passes by, another hour passes by, you can just spend your time just like scrolling through, and like you never complete the most important task on your list. So what I recommend is like blocking 15 minutes at a time, like 3 times a day. Pick maybe a morning, lunchtime, and then evening, where you are going to be engaging and responding to comments, and that way you can deal with the other tasks that's on your agenda.
Great advice.
I definitely love that idea of blocking off time, because people do go on there, they get on there, they get addicted to scrolling, and then they forget what they originally went on there for. So definitely blocking times within your day is a great advice and a great tip to keep in mind. So lastly, we have a few minutes left. We would want to kind of give our listeners one actionable thing that they can take away from this. Right now, what is one thing they can take away to improve their social media presence, even as a beginner, or just something that they can do today or tomorrow to improve their social media presence?
Okay, so it's very simple. It's just do it. Do it in your own style and based on your audience, and how your audience will receive it the best. So be consistent in your style and delivery. If your demographic in your market is like somebody who's in suit and ties, then do the suit and tie on video and hire somebody professional to do the videos. If your audience is like family oriented, or kind of down to earth buyers, then do it a little bit more organically with just with your phone. But be consistent in your style and delivery, and create content that's super genuine and valuable, that makes someone want to share it with their own network. So it's okay to like flub on words. It's okay, because the audience is very, very forgiving, and it's okay that the video is not perfect. The audience attention span is like literally 8 seconds. So you have to just deliver it in the most authentic way that will relate to your audience.
Definitely great advice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. I think honestly, it's the first and last piece of advice that you need for marketing in general, specifically real estate, social media marketing. If you're not doing it, if you're not committing to it, then you're never going to be successful at it. So, yeah, block off the time, make an effort. I think that's a fantastic place to leave it here.
Great.
Just get started and do it. Alrighty. So thank you so much, Jenny, for coming on here, sharing your tips. This was a great first community member highlight. I hope people can take away some social media tips and start using it themselves. And if anyone else listening in the future wants to be highlighted as a community member, if you have expertise in a certain area or tips you would like to share with us and the audience, you can email hi@theclose, and we'll get back to you on that. So thank you again, Jenny, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And hey, Jenny, before you go, can you just tell us if people want to follow you on social media, where can we find you?
That's right. Thanks for the call to action. It's West One Real Estate. That's our Instagram feed. We're just check us out there, and we're also on Twitter at West One. But I'm Jenny Woon. You can also find me JENNYWUN, and I'm all over Facebook and Twitter as well. And
Excellent. So make sure you're connecting with Jenny. Her team is doing some really amazing things, and if you have questions for Jenny, she is going to be continuing to be in the Facebook group. So tag her in the Facebook group, ask her a question. Let's get a conversation started about this. Super excited to have you kind of a part of this overall conversation, because it's one that's going to continue. We're going to continue to have, I think.
I look forward to hearing more.
Awesome.
Thanks again, Jenny.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. All right, guys. Have a great day.